you're only going to be responsible for the primary grades, but there's actually pluses and minuses for each one of those numbers, right? Which you'll have to know when you go to PT school, whatever. Okay, so if you get the ankle card, we're going to test the dorsiflexors and the plantar flexors. In real life, we would also test the inverters and everters, but because of the time frame, it's taking 20 to 30. If you know what you're doing, and I've said this before, it takes 20 to 30 minutes. If you don't know what you're doing, it takes forever. Eventually, you just kind of say, the hourglass has run out. So, if you get the ankle, dorsiflexors, plantar flexors. Get the knee, we're going to do the knee extensors and knee flexors. And if you get the shoulder card, we're going to do the rotator cuff. The rotator cuff is on the handout I gave you there. This is from a study from Duke University where they stuck EMG electrodes into the shoulder muscles, and they tried to determine exactly where each muscle was firing at its optimal tone or strength, and also where all the other muscles that maybe did that particular motion was working the least. So it's a way of trying to isolate a particular muscle. So we'll start with the ankle first. So again, you need to know, if I don't know how strong she is, I'm going to see if she can get a score of 3 or fair. 3 or fair synonymous, right? That means you can go through the full available range of motion against gravity. So in real life, you wouldn't want her shoe on, right? Because that's added weight that could mess up your reading. So the first thing you do is look at her foot, and now you do it. Fine. Is say, come forward, so you're up. And you actually can spin around the front. It'd be easier for you, probably. I'm going to watch her foot and say, keep your knee still and bring your foot as high up as front of your head as possible. No, keep your knee still. No, just your foot. So I'm looking at that and I say, that's pretty much, appears to be pretty much what I consider the normal range of motion. So I'm going to give her a 3, right? Very straightforward. She's going through what appears to be, to me, the full available range of motion against gravity. So now I'm going to do what?
Resistance.
I'm going to apply the brake test. B-R-E-A-K, brake test. So I'm going to say, hold your foot up. I'm going to try to push your foot back down to the floor. Don't let me. So I stabilize the back of her leg, put my hand on the top of her foot, and slowly begin to push down as hard as I can, relatively speaking. When you do these tests, you have to take into consideration the age, size, sex of the individual. If this was somebody that's 80 years old and 100 pounds, and I'm big like you two guys, right? I can figure they're going to be able to push her leg down no matter how much resistance. So you're not going to do that, right? Because you're going to get sued. And they're not coming back to you, all right? So you have to take all that into consideration. I'm saying, you know, that for her size and age, body frame build, that is what I consider a 5. Okay? So if she has some resistance but then gives way, that's how we're going to pretend she has a 4 or moderate strength. Take some resistance but not complete. When she gives way, she's probably going to say, oh, that hurts. And I'm going to then say what?
Where?
Where? If you don't say where, I'm going to look at you and say, are you a mind reader? And then you're going to say, oh my God, what's he doing now? But then you finally say, no, I'm not a mind reader. I said, well then how did you know where it hurt? Now, when you do the palpations, you palpated tibialis anterior, and that was sore, because that's what the card said. When you do the manual muscle test, she's going to be, she might only be a 3, which would indicate a more significant injury than a 4, right? Type of thing. She might have 5, and still say, I'm strong, but it hurts, type of thing. So it all depends on what you're going to find in real life. If she can't raise it up against gravity, you have to put her in a gravity-limited position. So you have to slide all the way back so your foot's on the table. You got to lay on your side with your injured leg on your side. Actually, you flip the other way, because you're probably on the other. And scoot up just a little more so your foot's, no, the other way. Other way. Yeah. So now you're going to put her in to a plantar flex position, and now let me see if you can dorsiflex your foot. So now she can do it, so she gets a score of 2. Now, you also have to remember, I think I've said this, or if I haven't, I'm going to say when we talk about rehabilitation, for every joint, for every motion, the muscle length, tension, the amount of tension that can be developed changes. So, if I were working on elbow flexion, to see how strong that motion is, the strength changes. Down here, I'm pushing on a dynamometer, I'm not very strong. Way up here, I'm not very strong. So Kyle, where would you be think maximum strength gain? Exactly, right about there. If I had a dynamometer, and the amount of force that I could put on would be the greatest. So if I put her in the extreme, and that's a weak spot, I would say, right, let me put it here where I think she can develop more force, and now see if you can dorsiflex. And then that still would be a 2. Okay? If she still can't move it, no matter what position you put her in, but you feel the anterior compartment muscles, tibialis anterior articular, so just tighten up this muscle. I feel tension, but I don't see movement. That's what we call 1 or trace. No movement, no tension felt, 0. If you can't palpate the muscle directly, in this case we can, you would put a question mark by your 0. Okay, you can sit up the edge of pen, please. So now we're going to test the plantar flexors. So I want you to point your foot to the floor. Can I say she got a 3?
Yeah.
Exactly. To get a 3, you have to do it against gravity, right? What's pulling her foot down? Gravity. She just relaxes her foot. Gravity's just going to pull it into plantar flexion, right? So you have to lay on your stomach. So you're going to get a workout today. So now bend your knee to 90 degrees. Now I want you to point your foot toward the ceiling. Hopefully we'd all agree she's going through the full available range of motion against gravity. So now I'm going to apply the brake test. I'm going to try to push your foot back down. Don't let me. I can't budge her. She gets a score of 5. If she breaks after a while, has some strength, but she said that hurts, and I say where? She says back here, gastrocnemius. I'm thinking she has a calf strain. Okay? She can't raise it up against gravity. I can put her sideline again. On her side, and yeah, flip her. That's the way I would do it. Really, but you got to scoot it all the way up. Back. So now I'm going to put her in dorsiflexion and see if she can plantar flex. So now she gets a 2. She still can't move it no matter what position I put her foot in. I'm going to feel the muscle if it develops tension, but not enough to produce movement. Because again, the manual muscle tests are all based on a progression. You feel tension, there's enough tension to move the body part, then they can take resistance. Okay, you can sit off the edge again. So that's the ankle, dorsiflexors and the plantar.